Okay, in this lesson I'm going to explain the negative angles. While we're explaining the negative angles, we are going to use the reduction formulas. If you remember in the first lesson, I explained that the 2 pi minus alpha and minus alpha, they refer same point. That's why we are using the help of reduction formulas for explaining the negative angles. Okay, minus alpha here, minus alpha and 2 pi minus alpha, they are going to show same point. 2 pi minus alpha here and minus alpha, they are going to show same point. And it is in the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, sine is negative, cosine is positive, tangent and cotangent is negative. That's why minus alpha sine comes out as a for sine, tangent and cotangent minus, only for cosine as a plus, it comes out. So if I repeat this part again, in this group for function, only cosine is positive for minus angle, the rest of them, they are going to be positive. Here, if we solve exercise about that one, if you remember, I said only for cosine positive, the rest of them negative. So sine minus 225, it's going to be sine 225, but we are going to get minus 1 out. For the cosine 150 is going to be, it's going to be equal to cosine and 150. Here again I'm repeating, there are 4 functions in the fourth quadrant, 3 of them negative, sine, tangent and cotangent is negative, only cosine is positive. That's why here there is going to be positive. Okay, now 225, sine 225, how to calculate 225? I know that sine 225 is sine 180 plus 45, it's going to be. And sine 145, sine 180 plus 45, 180 pi, pi plus x case this is, and we are not changing the function. First it is sine 45, it's going to be. Okay, the angle sine 225, it is in the third quadrant. That's why minus sign we should add, and we have 2 minus signs now here. And minus and minus, it's going to be plus, plus sine 45, it's going to be, and sine 45 is equal to, if you remember, sine 45 is going to be equal to root 2 over 2. From the, if you remember, from the hand rule, we of that one by using the hand rule. The angles are 30 here, 30, 45 and 45 and 60 degree. Here 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, it's going to be, so it's equal to, for 45 it is going to be root 2 over 2. Okay, what about cosine 150? Cosine minus cosine 150 becomes cosine 150, and cosine 150, it's going to be equal to cosine 90 plus 60. And when you see pi over 2 plus x case this is, when you see pi over 2, we are going to change the function, so it's going to be sine. And 150, it is in the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, cosine is negative, that's why we are going to get sine minus. Then the result is going to be sine x, and that's x is equal to 60, and it's going to be equal to, for the sine, if you remember, here 0, 1, 2, 3, for the 60, it's going to be minus root 3 over 2 is going to be. If we solve questions for the radian, firstly, I need to explain before then for the radian part, I need to explain the negativeness. Negative tangent 5 pi over 4, it's going to be, it's equal to, and this is going to be equal to, this is going to be equal to negative cotangent 7 pi over 6, it's going to be. Then when I am explaining here 5 pi over 4, we should separate this one as pi over 2 or pi form. So pi plus pi over 4, it's going to be equal to 5 pi over 4. Then instead of 5 pi over 4, I'm going to write minus tangent pi plus pi over 4, and that's going to be equal to, now we have the function tangent pi. Tangent pi means we are not changing the function, tangent pi over 4. Okay, and in the formula we have the pi plus pi over 4, it is in the third quadrant. It's going to be in the third quadrant. In the third quadrant, tangent is going to be positive, because sine and cosine is negative in the third quadrant. Tangent is going to be positive. So the answer is going to be equal to minus tangent pi over 4. That's equal to minus tangent pi, you know, it's equal to 180. 180 over 4, it's equal to 45. Tangent 45 is equal to minus 1. Okay. What about cotangent 7 pi over 6? 7 pi over 6 can be written as pi plus pi over 6. Then this is going to be 7 pi over 6. Here it's going to be equal to minus cotangent pi plus pi over 6, and this minus sign, minus cotangent, it's going to be cotangent. When we have pi, we are not changing the function, pi over 6, and in the third quadrant, cotangent, it was negative. That's why here this sign, it's going to be plus. Actually, the pi plus pi over 6 sign is going to be plus, and the minus sign here, there was a minus sign, it continues same. So minus and plus, it's going to be minus cotangent pi over 6. Minus cotangent pi over 6, when we say it's equal to minus cotangent 180 over 6, it's going to be equal to 30. So the result is equal to minus cotangent 30 is equal to, if you remember, cosine over sine. Cosine 30 is equal to root 3 over 2. Tangent 30 is equal to sine 30 is equal to 1 over 2. Root 3 over 2 over 1 over 2. This is cosine 30. This is sine 30, if you remember. And the answer is the root 3 it's going to be. And the answer is going to be equal to minus root 3.